So the first question that we're, really hoping that you can understand, right? This may seem like a very obvious question to you to ask your supplier, what the unit cost, right? Based on the specific trade term. So this is really, what differentiates an experienced B2B international buyer from the novice ones, right? Is knowing the nuance of this question and including the international trade term as part of your asks. So for those that need a refresher on Incoterms real quick, right? These acronyms provide one universal definition for a series of tasks, responsibilities, liabilities for shipment of the goods. So Incoterms will ultimately determine your shipping costs and, will impact your total product cost. And it's, truly the foundation of your trade assurance or contract on Alibaba.com. And here's a quick graphic that explains, who's responsible for what. So for instance, EXW, EXW means that the supplier will have the goods ready for pickup at the factory and is not responsible for the product once it leaves the factory doors. So the buyer, you, is responsible for transporting it all the way from the factory and is responsible for all costs from that moment on to your final destination, right? Well, FOB means that the seller ships the goods to the nearest port and is responsible for clearing the goods for export at the, origin. And the buyer is responsible for the goods from the port onwards and everything after that. And there's a bunch of C terms here, right? CPT, CIF, CFR. A little confusing, but generally they mean that the buyer bears the cost and risk until the order is delivered at the destination port. So CIF means your supplier is responsible for, right, cost insurance freight for arranging transportation to the destination port, including minimum insurance. So by default, now you may be wondering, right, a CIF unit cost would be higher than FOB unit cost or, EXW unit cost, right? Why? Because the supplier really has to spend time and energy on arranging transportations for you, therefore making the total product cost higher. And that can really add up when you're ordering large quantities. So really when it comes to your freight orders that are high in commercial value, we recommend that you actually use buyer-driven Incoterms such as FOB, FCA, EXW, allowing you to have more control, pricing, and transparency. So making sure that you're asking the unit cost by trade term is really what's going to differentiate you from, the novice international buyers.